Welcome to episode 4
Wow, 4.
of the Sultan of Slow Drip podcast. I am your host, the Sultan of Slow Drip, and this is my co-host, Victor Chan.
What's up,
As
guys?
always, we are back with another coffee tasting. Victor, before we get started with this, though, I want to let you know, I think I finally, as we've been recording these episodes, I'm getting a sense of what this podcast is really about.
Okay.
And I know that's going to evolve over time.
Oh,
like
yeah.
you said, don't even think about it till like episode 50.
Right.
So, I was like, when I first approached this podcast, I was thinking, this will be a good way for me to talk about the things that Kyoto Black's up to and just kind of way to plug the local industry and what's going on. And quite honestly, I think what I've been just whenever I'm brainstorming and thinking like, what can I do? It's always been about tasting stuff, right?
Yeah.
It's been tasting different things, different elements of things.
Yeah.
I put out that video about the orange, how to taste an orange on my Instagram. The last episode that we did with Corey was about tasting different waters, right?
Clutch.
So it's always been tasting.
Okay.
And I realized something. Also, just some of the comments that I've gotten, which I'll go through as well. What I'm passionate about is actually helping people taste things better.
Okay.
When I think about
Cool.
it, yeah, that's like actually what I'm passionate about is helping walk people through tasting.
Yeah.
At my previous job at Metropolis, I was the trainer, and a big part of my job was getting everyone's palate in alignment, and then getting our palates in alignment with the customer. So we actually experienced some kind of interesting things, like as industry people, we drink our coffee black, just all the time, black. That's how we drink the industry. If you ever worked in coffee, you'll see that there's just a very different culture inside of coffee as opposed to like the consumer.
Okay.
And in a lot of ways, we're actually like completely 180 to the consumer.
Yeah.
And we're trying to
So
get them caught
you're
up.
trying to bridge the gap then.
Yeah, we're trying to get them caught up with us in a way where it's like we're on lighter coffees, we're on more acidic coffees, more expressive, and we like coffees that have more like tea-like qualities to them. Coffees that don't really taste like coffee.
Okay.
And we're also never drinking our coffee with milk. Unless it's like a latte or something, which is kind of not the ideal way, honestly, as an industry person to drink your coffee. So as the trainer, I was like, hey, guys, we never drink our coffee with milk, but all of our customers drink their coffee with milk. So how do we know what experience they actually have? So guess what? We got to start putting milk in our coffee now. And I forced everyone to drink coffee with milk for like a month.
Good for you, yeah.
Just to say, hey, this is what our customers are experiencing too. So we can better serve them and know
all
what they're
types of
experiencing.
milk, all types of cream,
I know, and it was like not fun, but because personally I don't like milk and coffee at all. But, especially in just regular coffee. Yeah, I do not like it. But it's what we have to do to understand the customer better. So that's what I'm kind of leaning towards more. In terms of like focusing the podcast is how to help people develop their palates and taste things, and so yeah.
Cool. Glad to hear it.
Yeah. So I just had that moment of clarity.
Yeah. Well, the comments have been well received.
They have been. Yeah. Actually, I'll go through a couple comments. The water episode, which I had a lot of fun with.
It was very eye-opening for me.
Yeah. So the water episode, I got some pretty good comments. On Instagram, here's one comment. I brewed a cup of coffee with distilled water, and it was unpalatable! ! I didn't know it was bad for me, but something told me it wasn't good for me. So we'll walk through this a little bit too, just like tasting what coffee tastes like when you use distilled water. But the thing is, you absolutely need the minerals for the chemistry of coffee making to work. Okay. Yeah, it's funny. I get comments from different people or like little suggestions, and there'll be a nugget of something where they just don't understand how coffee works, and they'll be like, well, for example, what if you just used a cup of coffee that was brewed to brew another cup from fresh grounds to make like a double strength coffee? And I'm like, there's a reason that doesn't work. There's saturation of the water. The water can only hold so much coffee depending on the style and the pressure and all that stuff you use. There's more than that to it. There's
Jake.
Water.
I don't know if Jake still does that, but he used to do that.
What do you used to do?
Cold brew with cold brew.
Oh my god.
I don't know if I don't think he does it anymore, but like maybe it was a one-off thing just to try, but that makes a lot of sense that it's fully saturated with coffee and it can no longer extract more coffee or hold more coffee.
Yeah, so not to go into it like too much into depth right now, but there basically I think people look at, and I've probably said this before, but people look at making coffee like cooking, but it's really more like baking. There's a chemistry to coffee.
Yeah.
Where it's in order to make certain breads or certain cakes, you have to have that chemistry right.
Okay.
You know, otherwise the bread's not going to rise correctly. It's not going to do all the things you need it to structurally do in order to be the bread or the cake or the cracker or whatever. Whereas, you know, you can go and say, oh, I'm making chili tonight. And it's like, what do I have in the fridge? I can just throw that in the chili and it'll be decent as long as they taste good together.
Right. Yeah.
But, you know, for coffee, it really does like have much more of a chemistry kind of aspect to it. So, yeah, so it's been nice to get kind of comments from people to see where I can kind of direct you guys better. So that was a really good one. But you actually do need the minerals, and they have to be in the right levels and in the right ratios to each other in order to really get a good tasting cup of coffee. And then another comment that I got, which is actually from a person who I used to work with who was a trainee of mine, who really took to the coffee game quite nicely and became very knowledgeable about tea as well. He said, what's your take on adding minerals? For example, third wave water, which is a mineral product that you add to distilled water. So this company, they created basically just little packets that you can add to a gallon of distilled water, and it mineralizes the distilled water. So it gives you this like perfect water for, you know, all the standards of brewing coffee. And I think that's a great product. I think the idea of adding minerals to distilled water is like wonderful. You know, actually there is a site called Barista Hustle, which they have a guide on how to make your own mineralized water from distilled water.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. You make
how so?
So basically what you do is you get like Epsom salts, and you also get, you know, you can get calcium salts. They're a little more difficult to dissolve, calcium salts.
Yeah.
But you can get that, and then also baking soda. Those are the main elements that you need in your water. And then you create what's called a strong water. And the strong water is basically super mineralized water.
Okay.
And then you add just a little bit of strong water to a gallon of distilled water at the ratio. So you have to put everything on a scale and weigh it and stuff.
Oh, wow.
And then that'll give you your perfect water for pennies on the dollar compared to like buying a product, which, you know, no knock, you know, but you buy a product that's going to cost you more, obviously, as opposed to doing the work yourself. So,
cool.
You know,
no, it's a really cool product.
Yep. So, and then also just got a comment from Martin Reese, who is like the water sommelier.
The sommelier.
Yeah. So he just said, "Stay hydrated, my friends," and that's
we
plan on doing that. So
thanks, Martin.
Yeah, cool. So thanks. Keep the Instagram interactions coming. And to move on to the thing that we're doing today is we're gonna have a little bit of Turkish coffee.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. So
it's already separated.
It's already separated, and actually I made it ahead of time on purpose, just to allow it to separate, because you know you don't want to drink that stuff on the bottom.
Right.
So I can give you a little bit of a rundown.
Please,
of Turkish coffee. So basically, you want to grind that coffee like makeup, as fine as you can go.
Okay.
There's no such thing as too fine with Turkish coffee. And for my personal preference, I like to use 10 grams of coffee and like 85 grams of water.
Okay.
And you add them in together in a little pot. You've probably seen it before with the handle called the sezva.
Yeah.
Yeah. Most people think it's called an ibrik.
It's called a sezva?
Sezva.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So the ibrik is actually a pitcher. It looks more like a kettle.
Okay.
And that's totally different. So the sezva is what's used in the sand
to
make the Turkish coffee, or you can use it on a hot plate, you know, whatever you want to do. But you take the water and ground coffee and you mix them together in the sezva with the water cold. And the cold part is very important. You know, people think that you have to do it with hot water at first because it'll be faster.
I know that, yeah.
It's cold is better because you actually want to give that coffee a little bit of time to absorb the water before it starts brewing.
Okay.
Yeah.
And with cold water. It's better with cold water.
Yeah.
Would hot water destroy it or something?
So hot water would start the extraction on contact.
Okay.
As soon as cold water does too, but it's less energetic.
Okay.
So essentially, if you were to add hot water to it, you would be getting your extraction going right from the beginning, because most of the coffee extraction happens within like the first 15 seconds.
Okay.
And if you do it with hot water, you're not allowing the water to penetrate and extract kind of evenly through the ground. It's more so doing a superficial extraction more intensely than the deep extraction.
Okay.
But by allowing that ground some time to absorb the water, when you add the heat to it, it's going to add energy to the center of the ground as well as the outside of the ground in a more even fashion. So your extraction throughout the ground, from the surface level to the inside of the ground, is much more even, so you'll taste that in the coffee more.
Interesting.
Yeah, coffee is all about like even extraction.
Yeah.
Any unevenness of extraction is a lot of time where you get your bitterness, your astringency. Like this has been sitting in the cup for a long time now. Like we've been talking for what, like 10 minutes?
Right.
And I started brewing it like 5 minutes before we even started shooting.
Okay.
So on paper, this should be very bitter because it's been brewing the whole time, really.
Yeah.
It's just ground sitting.
But you use cold water initially.
I used cold water initially, heated it up, and now it's just been sitting there chilling. Personally, with Turkish, I actually like to let my Turkish sit for a while to get cold.
Oh.
Because for me, at least, you get more sweetness. It's just like the cupping, if you remember the cupping that we had. Very similar to the cupping. You just get more sweetness, and I like the mouthfeel of it a little bit better.
Okay.
So basically, when you drink this, just kind of drink from the top as much as possible. And the thing about Turkish is you want to just kind of take it slow.
Okay.
You know, just
good,
a little bit, and then just kind of let it sit and chill. No agitation as much as possible. So.
Okay.
Yep.
Cheers. Thank you. Very mouth feels good.
Yeah.
It's it's silky.
Yeah, it's very creamy, very smooth. When you do Turkish, you get like this little film on top, like this kind of, it almost looks like crema.
Okay.
And I actually like to take that away.
I saw you doing that.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that. It holds on to a lot of dust.
Oh, okay.
And, you know, there's this whole kind of thing where people are like, oh, crema is so great. Crema tastes terrible. Crema's awful. And it's better just to get rid of it. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, when I had Turkish coffee at the layover in Istanbul, I don't think I let it sit or anything like that. Like, I don't know if they let it sit. Like, they just got to the counter and I took it and I just started sipping.
I mean, that I think is typically how people approach it. You know, they get it and they instantly just get in there.
Yeah.
I'm a cold coffee drinker as well. So, you know, this is not a hot cup of coffee anymore. It's definitely lost its heat.
Yeah.
But for me personally, I prefer it maybe just like a little warmer than this, but not much.
I like it.
Yeah, it's just easy to drink, and you really get the flavor of it. And
this is your coffee, right?
This is my coffee.
It's never tasted like this in any other form, whether it's bottled or in the pouch.
Yeah.
It's easier to pick up on the flavor notes.
Yeah.
But it's also a little more acidic.
It is, and that becomes from the hot water.
Yeah.
So yeah, when you do the hot water preparation, you just pull more acidity out of it, as opposed to cold brewing. So
okay.
Yeah, and you know, one of the things that I like about different coffee methods, just in general, like the method really dictates kind of how you approach the coffee.
Okay.
Because I know that typically people look at coffee as just being this fast thing. Like when I think of what do people perceive as the coffee, it's speed. Like I want to get it fast, I want it hot, I want to go, I need the energy, I need to move, need to work. Right. And you know, there are some drinks where it's like, okay, I want to chill a little bit. Like cappuccinos, that's the classic chill drink in my opinion. Like in my head, whenever someone gets a cappuccino and they're in a rush, I'm like, you should get a different drink. The cappuccino's not for rushing. The cappuccino's for really just sitting there and enjoying the interplay.
Ironically, the espresso too.
Yeah, exactly. Like espresso is there. It's, you know, if someone gets a shot of espresso to go, that's a tragedy to me. That's a tragedy. And I can't tell you how many baristas I know who've gotten into like so many tiffs with customers or with management or ownership over that question. Serving espresso to go. Because a lot of baristas don't want to do it. Like good baristas don't want to do it.
But if people are willing to pay.
People are willing to pay. If the shop's willing to allow their coffee to be served that way. If they're willing to accommodate cups, because there's a whole special little cup that you have, and then people want lids for the cup.
Oh my goodness.
People want lids for the little espresso cup that, you know.
Yeah,
so they can have it in their car.
Oh.
And it's like, you should get a different drink. That's not what espresso's for.
Right.
So, and Turkish is another, like, I couldn't imagine if I had a cafe that served Turkish and someone was like, yeah, I want a Turkish to go. I just couldn't imagine, like, being able to tell them sure.
You're like, no.
Yeah, I couldn't envision a world where I would say, okay, yeah, you can do that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you just walk away with this and just like walk down the street carrying coffee sludge.
It's like
yeah, exactly.
Like slushing around in there.
Oh, you're like, can I get a lid so I can drive with it? It's like, you know,
all these bottles and shit.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
You're drinking mud water.
Just like have grounds all over his face, right? So, different coffee preparations really do require a different state of mind, a different approach.
Yeah.
And with the Turkish, it actually by its nature forces you to slow down and enjoy it. Because if you drink it too fast, you're going to get a mouthful of grounds.
Yes. Yeah.
You have to sip it and then let it settle. And
so, and you didn't use a Civic, you used a kettle, right? And so how did you You use cold water in the kettle.
Yeah.
But then where'd you put the grounds, or like where did the?
So basically, I put the grounds inside the sezva.
So you use the sesame
with the cold water.
Oh.
Yep. So together, and then I put them onto an electric plate.
Oh, okay.
And then heat it
So you still
together.
did it very traditionally.
Yeah, I mean,
just
that-
without,
yeah.
without the sand. That's all.
Yeah, no sand. Yeah.
Gotcha,
So I just
gotcha,
used
gotcha.
the induction heater instead.
Gotcha. Okay.
Which helps heat it up pretty fast. Like a burner is much slower.
Yeah.
And I find you get more kind of bitterness with the slower.
Yeah.
Because like if you do the sand is very hot, so it comes to a boil pretty quickly.
Yeah.
The induction is similar, where it just heats it up really, really fast.
Okay.
For some reason, you do a burner, it just takes a long time for it to even
Yeah.
heat up.
Yeah.
And it's just not
Noticed
as good.
that,
So
yeah.
it's like sand or induction is like the way to go for
Cool.
me. Yeah. This is really good.
It is. Is what about cream in Turkish coffee? Is that even a possibility?
I mean, I've seen people do it. I've seen people put
Because you have to let
sugar.
it sit, right? So then, like,
Yeah.
isn't going to separate kind of then?
I mean, the cream will mix pretty evenly through. I've seen people put like cream and sugar in Turkish. I just think it's a waste at that point.
Okay.
Personally, I think Turkish is about enjoying just the coffee itself.
Yeah.
If you need cream or sugar, it's because the coffee is missing body and sweetness and smoothness. Because adding cream, for one, cream makes good coffee taste worse, without a doubt.
Okay.
Because the coffee already has everything it needs, like the sweetness, the balance is already
Yeah.
there. So what cream is for coffees that have too much astringency. It smooths it because you ever have a coffee that makes your tongue dry?
No,
Like where it's so bitter and hollow tasting that it makes your tongue dry?
I haven't. But to be
That's
honest,
good for
I
you.
don't. I rarely have it black though.
Okay.
So I usually do a splash. But then when I hear you say that, it makes sense. Like the cream it doesn't tast like coffee anymore. It's a
Right.
different kind of coffee. It's
Yeah.
just cream coffee,
Exactly.
So, yeah, I don't know. I'll give it a shot. I'll
Yeah.
give like more black coffee a shot.
Yeah, I mean the cream part is just more so about
And it's flavored cream too.
what is it, like hazelnut?
It's hazelnut.
Of course,
yeah.
it's hazelnut. Everybody does hazelnut.
Basic
flavored cream.
bitch.
Yeah. So yeah, the tannins in coffee,
Okay.
they will stick to your tongue and just like really dry it out and make it feel like
Oh,
sandpapery.
okay.
And the cream binds to those tannins and just keeps them from sticking to your tongue.
I gotcha.
Yeah. So it was a way of just getting people to drink swell, But now we get better coffee. So
Yeah,
just
we do.
better access to coffee. So
We do.
another thing I like about Turkish too is at a certain point you have to go, all right, it's time for me to just dip out and leave. Like you can't finish it all.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if you try to push it too hard, you'll get a mouthful of sediment. So at a certain point, you have to go, all right, this is the last one.
Aw.
And that little dance is just like I just hit that point where I'm just like, okay, if I go any further, I'm just not having fun. So, Turkish coffee is kind of like Vegas. You have to leave while you're still having fun. Otherwise, you're not going to have fun. Damn.
Yeah, that was really good.
That's really good.
That was really good.
So,
I didn't enjoy it the first time I had it.
I was just about to ask you. You said the first
Yeah.
time you had Turkish coffee in Istanbul.
Istanbul. It was a layover in Istanbul, and yeah, like I said, I took it right off the counter and started sipping. It was
Uh-huh.
extremely hot, and the sediment I didn't give it time to settle for
Mhm.
one, and it tasted awful.
Okay.
And I split it with Jake, and so yeah,
You
so
split a Turkish?
we yes we did. And we probably both didn't know how to drink it, and we
Yeah.
were both sloshing it around,
Oh,
and
no.
like it's not
Okay.
good. And I think at the end of it, it's like the novelty of like looking at the grounds after you drink all of it, like that. That was like reaching a destination, and instead of like
Gotcha.
enjoying like the sipping.
Okay.
So yeah, I'll let him know if I'm sure Jake's watching. Like
Okay.
he'll know how to. We'll give Turkish coffee definitely another shot. I liked
Yeah,
it this time,
yeah.
so
And there's actually another way of making Turkish too, where you actually filter it.
okay.
And this is not traditional at all, so don't attack me, people. Like, it's Turkish. Like, you use the sezva, you mix it, and it's the whole process. But the only difference is, at the end, instead of pouring it directly into a cup, you filter it into the cup. You pour it through like a cone filter.
So you won't. So it filters out the.
it filters
sediment.
out all the sediment, and
Oh,
that you
okay,
can just,
okay. Oh.
or you can put it in an AeroPress and then press it, and then you'll get like a nice.
Yeah.
I love that. I like that more than
Really?
drinking it traditional.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, because the whole process cools it off already, and it's just ready to go. And that extra pressure just really like you get that extra extraction.
Maybe that can be good to go.
That is good to go. I've actually considered doing that.
Oh.
Yeah, like before I opened this place, and I was thinking, what kind of hot options could I have? That crossed my mind where I was like, maybe I should press
Well, I mean,
Turkish.
just like how you're releasing these special like limited releases,
yeah.
like maybe.
It's something that I still think about
Maybe,
doing because it's
yeah.
fun.
Try it.
Yeah, and to get like this little cup of coffee that's not quite espresso.
Yeah.
It's not quite drip, but it's just
Gives another reason to come in.
yeah.
If you want some Turkish coffee from Kyoto Black, let us know.
Yeah, let us know. I might make it for you. Who knows? I might have a little cart with bells on it. Yeah. So, question of the day. This actually does go into the question of the day pretty nicely. We see like cafes opening all the time, right? We see different concepts coming and going. What do you personally want to see in the coffee world? What do you think is lacking in terms of just options or what's out there? Like, because people are always looking for like the new thing, and I know a lot of it has been kind of trendy, like Dalgona coffee type stuff, which is just like terrible. But more so in terms of like shops or offerings, is there anything that you kind of, or even concepts, anything that you personally are like, damn, I wish we had this?
I don't know. I've been to 2, but just to pick up coffee, 4LW, 4-letter word, and Gaslight. But you're comfortable with, or side project or side practice, and like I'm not blowing smoke up Francis' ass, but like I like what he's got going on, and he's got a good rotation of drink offerings on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Recently, my favorite was the Thin Mint. So it's like interesting drinks like that, and then he infuses like he's known for like a lot of ube stuff as well. And I don't know what's missing or what people.
Francis is really like a Jedi with all this stuff, man. He's like incredible.
But he's so humble about it too, as any Jedi would be.
Yeah, exactly,
but, yeah.
right? Yeah. Like I see him behind the counter and pretty much everything he's doing. Like, I'm just like,
right.
geez, like how's he doing?
Learn quick.
Yeah, he's like just like implement. He's just like, it's not even like I would call it side practice. I would call it side implement because he just gets in there and just does it.
You hear
so
that, Francis?
Quickly, man. He's just like, no, I'm serious. Like he really gets in there and just does everything. I find myself being more like a Hamlet type character compared to Francis, where he's just able to say idea, action, and I really respect that.
The willingness to fail.
Yeah, he's definitely got that. So
I mean, what do you think? Is Chicago missing anything?
I think, and maybe this is something that will happen because of the pandemic and everything, but I think we could use much more like coffee carts and more coffee like bikes. Like I have a coffee trike.
You do, yeah.
Yeah, I would like to see more trikes out there. I would like to see more I want to see someone repurpose an ice cream truck into a coffee truck. That would be dope. Like I personally want to do that myself.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, like.
Well, I know you said you've kind of outgrown this place.
I have. I need to get a bigger spot. Yeah.
Maybe a truck.
Yeah, right. Just like do everything out of an 18-wheeler. Right?
Yeah. Could turn it into a podcast truck too.
Like,
Let's
right?
travel
Like,
the country, serve coffee and podcast.
They have those cargo shipping homes. Maybe I can just do like
Yeah.
a cargo shipping coffee Death Star podcast.
I'm down. Let's road trip.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, man, I really want an ice cream truck myself. That would be like a good start to
Breaking Bad, an RV.
Yeah,
just
exactly, right? So I would like to see more people doing that though.
Cool.
I know the city makes it very difficult,
Yeah.
but who knows? I think
With
now,
like permits and stuff.
permits, all
okay.
that, like just giving people trouble. I do feel that if we were to use this opportunity to kind of petition them a little bit more and say, hey guys, kind of got ran through the ringer this past year and some change.
Yeah.
Give us a break. Come on, let us just like serve the community a little more.
Yeah.
So.
If you miss festivals and
Right.
neighborhood little shindigs, down like block parties and things like that, man, I miss those.
Yeah, I don't think we'll have them in
Leave a comment.
2021 either.
Oh.
Any of the fests. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, on that note.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks for tuning in. It's been a real year, man. Like when I reflect on it.
Right.
Haven't been able to do a whole lot, but at least we got the podcast started, and we've been able to help people expand their palates. And I want to have some really cool guests on, people who are experts in their own field of tasting, kind of walk us through what they do.
Yeah.
I was just talking to you. I have a buddy who's really good at picking wines and whiskeys.
Yep.
And
Episode 5, wine shop.
yeah, we got to get episode 5 happening with my buddy. And until then, we'll see you guys. Thanks for tuning in.
Cool. Till next time. Bye, guys.
Peace.
So dibs.
Yeah. Fucking hate dibs.
What do you hate dibs?
I hate dibs. I actually put a Facebook post out that had a sign, one of those reserved parking signs.
Yeah.
You've seen those before, right?
Yeah.
And I said, hey guys, this is dibs. Everything else is littering.
Right.
Okay. If you haven't paid or made some arrangement for reserved parking, you don't have dibs.
Did you get any flack for that? Because
Oh,
I know,
no,
I
people
mean,
loved it.
it's a Chicago thing.
It's a Chicago thing. It's a jerk thing.
It's a jerk thing. I've heard of people getting their windows smashed because
Yeah.
they took someone's dibs spot.
Yeah, I know.
Or someone recovering their car with snow because they took
or
someone's dibs
ice,
spot.
putting
Or
water.
water.
On it.
Are
Yeah.
you kidding me?
Yeah. What do you think about dibs?
It's like we said off camera.
Yeah.
Everyone at some point has to dig yourself. You have to dig yourself out of a spot.
Right.
And you said that your reward for digging that spot out is leaving that spot. Is
Exactly.
no longer being stuck.
Yeah.
But you are not entitled to that spot
You're not
once it
entitled
comes
to it.
back. You're on the streets.
Yeah. It's like, okay, you wouldn't have moved your car unless you had to. Like I have neighbors who still haven't moved their car. We had snow it snowed for like a week straight.
Right.
And they didn't move their car because they didn't have to.
Yeah.
And I don't care. Like that's, whatever. What am I going to do? Tell them to move their car and, whatever. But your reward for shoveling is you get to use your car. And if you don't want to shovel, then just forego the use of your car and take an Uber or walk or take the bus or whatever, right?
Right.
So when these people are like, "Oh, I went through all the trouble of shoveling that spot out," they're really using like this weird framing where it's like, "Oh, I shoveled that spot because," they act as if they came upon a spot and said, "Whoa, this spot has no car. I must shovel it so that people can park
That's
here."
definitely not the case.
That's not the case. It was always your car was there.
No. And if your car's stuck, I'm sure there's someone in your neighborhood Facebook page that's willing to get paid to shovel it out.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
So look around. If you need help, I'm sure your neighbors can be neighbors and they'll help you out as well.
For real. But this claiming dibs stuff, I mean, I'll tell you, like, for real, I had a neighbor who I saw claim dibs in front of someone else's house, which, I mean, there is kind of an unwritten rule to dibs,
Right.
You don't claim dibs in front of someone else's house, especially if it's half down the block.
Well, honestly, it's just like if I see something, I'm too lazy to get out of my car to move the stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you've been circling the blocks like for 25 minutes, 30 minutes, you're like, this is the only spot left.
You got to take it. I mean, but my car was already taken care of. I had my own spot.
Right.
But I saw that this dude who I saw go and claim dibs at like 1 p.m. It was midnight. I was coming home from work. It was midnight, and the dib spot was still chairs and all that stuff. I threw it in like the deepest snow that I could find. And I was like, I don't even need this spot. But it's on general principle. As like a neighbor, you can't do that to your neighbors and just bogart a spot for.
And you didn't take that spot.
I didn't take it. I already had a spot.
I wonder, and I hope that nothing happened to the car that did take that spot.
Nothing happened. I saw it.
Good.
Yeah, nothing happened.
Shit like that,
It happens, but it's like, what are you gonna do? You're gonna go commit a vandalism over snow?
Yes.
It's like,
so
I don't know.
Petty, the
It is
amount
very
of
petty.
entitlement.
It is like it's entitlement. It's small-minded thinking. It's like because here I was talking to my wife about this, and I said, honey, okay, unless you're in a place where there's just like newcomers who are just like coming and parking all the time, if everyone just shovels out their spot and generally, people who live there are the ones who park in the neighborhood, shouldn't everyone have a spot when you come back? I mean, I understand like the snow is going to take up some excessive space, so you might get some shrinkage, like you might lose a certain percentage of spots just because of the snow.
Right.
But if there was room for all the cars when it snowed, there should be room for all the cars after everyone's dug themselves out when
Ideally.
they return.
Yeah.
I mean, on paper,
Ideally, yeah.
that's I know it's kind of like bro science, but it should work out. So just dig your car out and just move on.
Yeah.
I don't know. I hate dibs though. If I were mayor, I would be like on a tirade.
What do you think? Dibs or no dibs?
No dibs, unless you've paid for it. The only true dibs.
We good?
Yeah. All right.